Hey guys, it's JoJo. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel, but it's probably welcome to my channel because I have no viewers as of yet. But that's okay. This is really more for me. This is not for anyone else. This isn't to make money. This isn't to get famous. This is really just to create my content and do what I want to do, which is be in media. And I kind of want to start out by introducing myself and telling you a little bit about myself, or really a lot about myself. My name is Jordan. I am 29 years old. I live in Dallas, Texas. I am a gay man, obviously, or maybe not so obvious. I am going to make mistakes in these videos. I'm going to say things I probably shouldn't. I'm going to offend people. I'm hoping to connect with people also. I'm hoping that the things that I say and the story that I tell and the stories that I continue to tell at least help one person, um, or maybe just entertain anybody. But like I was saying, I live in Dallas, Texas right now. I'm originally from Oklahoma. I don't tell a whole lot of people that because um, Oklahoma gets a bad rap. Um, I don't know a whole lot about the, I guess you could say, gay culture, especially here in Dallas. The experiences that I've had down on, uh, it's Cedar Springs, it's the gay strip, the gayborhood is what it's called down here in Texas. It's um, very, I guess you could say, snotty, stuck up. People are rude just because they can be. Um, I'm a kind person. I don't like being mean. I don't like being rude. It doesn't make me feel good. I don't understand why people are rude to one another, especially in the gay community or the LGBTQIA so on and so forth community. I can't understand why there's so much um, hate amongst us as a community when we are already ostracized and disenfranchised and really a minority. Um, so basically, I am kind of easing my way into coming out and being around my community and getting acclimated to not only just being around gay people, but being around people in general. I'm very, I'm very introverted these days. I'm very guarded. I'm very closed off. It's just my experience. I've not had good experiences with people throughout my life. I've not had good experiences in the gay community throughout my adult life as a gay man. Um, and I'm trying to find ways to be a part of my community without just going out to the bars all the time. And I want to be, I want to make a difference, and I want to be a positive light and a positive force in my community. And I'm hoping through this video that maybe somebody sees this and they're going through what I've gone through, or somebody can give me some advice. And I'm gonna stumble over my words. Oop, stumble over my words and drop my camera, and it's gonna be a little awkward until I get used to filming. This is the very first video that I've actually is the very first video that I'm putting my heart into. And I want to start with, I am a recovering heroin addict. I'm a recovering drug addict, actually. Um, but heroin is my drug of choice. Opiates are my drug of choice. But really, when it comes down to it, anything that changes my mood or my my disposition, anything that just makes me not feel how I normally feel, I have gravitated towards my whole entire life. My biological mother was also an opiate addict, a drug addict. She passed away on Thanksgiving Day, 2009. Um, and she gave me my very first drugs, my very first opiates. She had a major back surgery when I was 16, a sophomore in high school, and I would watch her get so messed up, and I had never witnessed anything like that before. Because before I moved in with my mother, my biological mother, I lived with my father and my stepmother. My father is law enforcement, and I guess my stepmother is law enforcement too. My dad was a cop, my stepmom was a probation officer. I lived a very sheltered life from the age of 8 until the age of, well, I would say till the age, from the age of 7 till the age of 16. I started out living with my biological mother and my stepfather. My stepfather regularly raped me, regularly beat me. Um, I really didn't know as a child that that type of environment wasn't normal, and I'm not I'm not saying this for sympathy. I'm not saying any of this for any other reason than to get my story out there and to maybe help somebody. And I know my little brother is going to see this, and this is his father that did these things to me, and this may destroy my relationship with that part of my family, but I have to speak my truth. I have to no longer hide, and I have to start at the beginning. And the beginning is, my mother was not a mother. She claimed to have not known what was going on, but I was regularly neglected, starved, beaten, sexually molested, not just by my stepfather, but by many family members, by many people in my life who were supposed to have been protectors, people who were supposed to have been um, who were supposed to have just been my family and taking care of me. And I grew up thinking that incest or doing those types of things with your family members was normal. Up until the age of 8 or 9, that to me was a normal thing. I was molested by many cousins. I was molested by immediate family members and molested by my stepfather. On top of that, my stepfather, like I said, regularly beat me physically. I've blocked a lot of it out, as one does, especially with PTSD. I've blocked out a lot of the abuse, but one particularly terrible incident that comes to mind was that somehow CPS was called on my stepfather and my mother, and there was a case opened, and all I can remember is going into the CPS office and telling people I don't know about things I knew that I shouldn't have been talking about, things that I knew that were going to get me in trouble. Basically, I was telling on my stepfather, and then after all of that, that very night, I believe I was back at home alone with him, and he beat me so bad that I couldn't stand. As a 6-year-old child, I couldn't stand, I couldn't talk, and I was punished because I talked, I spoke. I didn't know any better. It's very hard for me now to put all of what happened into its place, and I'm sure a lot of this sounds scattered, and believe me, it's scattered for me too. But basically, I was beaten for answering questions. I was taken by my other family who couldn't legally take me out of the situation because I was under the custody of my biological mother and my stepfather, and they couldn't just take me out of it. And my mother, God rest her soul, I can't really tell you what I can't really tell you what she I can't really explain why I was put back in that situation, but I just know that that instance, that particular situation was the worst beating I've ever received. Um, I was hit over the head with an actual hammer, like a hammer and nails. I was hit with that. Um, and a lot of times, whenever I would be away from that environment and I would go and be around family, you know, that didn't treat me that way, they would ask me, Jordan, why don't you fight back? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And as a 6-year-old child, how do you fight back to a grown man? Granted, this man was in a wheelchair, he was diabetic, and so he had both legs amputated, but he had power over me physically and emotionally and mentally, and I just didn't know any better. I thought it was normal, and finally, all I can remember after that happening was one day the electricity got cut off at the um, tiny apartment that we lived in Bonham, Texas, and my mom calling my granny and my granny coming to pick me up, and from that point on I lived with my dad, who, like I said, was a cop, and you would think that things would get better from that point forward, and I guess they did. I wasn't no longer beaten. I was no longer being molested or raped. I was no longer being starved. But I was, I've always been different. Whether it was being gay and not being recognized at an early age, I've always just liked different things, done different things, acted different, and I don't know if that scared my dad and my stepmom, but they did their very best to turn me into a robot. That's how I feel, was I was being turned into a robot by my dad and my stepmom. I was very hyperactive. I I was just I'm not I'm not trying to sit here and I'm not trying to say, oh, poor me, my childhood this, my childhood that. Everybody has had a bad life, or everybody has had bad things happen to them. You know, I'm sure there are people. I know that there are people who've had it much worse than I did. I'm really just trying to tell my story, and I'm really just trying to work it out for myself. Um, but cut to, I moved in with my father at the age of 7 or 8. Stopped being beaten, stopped being molested. Um, but abuse comes in many forms and fashions, and there was a lot of mental and emotional abuse. I was always very sensitive. I was always a very free spirit. I still am a very free spirit. And it just has been my entire childhood. My entire childhood, I feel like, was spent trying to break my spirit. And my spirit is not broken. My spirit won't be broken. But with all of the all of the all of the abuse and all of the trying to make me into something that somebody else wanted me to be, and just not being allowed to be a child and be myself and grow and learn in my own way. I guess I developed, some kind of self-esteem problem. I'm not sure, but it has given me a feeling of inadequacy and severe self-esteem issues and being uncomfortable in my own skin. I I just was never me. And I don't know if I'm me now. But all of this is leading up to when I was finally 16. My cousin, who was 3 years younger than me, accused me of molesting him, which I guess I did. I guess I did molest him because that's what was taught to me by my other cousins. That's what was normal in my family to me. And it's so funny because this cousin in particular had approached me and made advances on me in that way. And things progressed and progressed. And finally, one day in high school, after a couple of years after it had stopped, a few years after it had stopped, I had grown up and started to realize, okay, this is not right. My stepmom picked me up from school and basically said to me, your cousin told your dad that you had been molesting him and you're sick and you need help, and we believe him. And there was no question. There was no, did you do this? There was no why. There was no questions asked. It was basically, Jordan, you were molested, so therefore now you're a molester, and things that you did with your cousin are sick, and we don't believe you, and you need help. And in reality, there are so many stories, I'm sure, of kids, 12 and under, experimenting or playing around with each other. And because I was gay at that point, and because I was molested, and because I was different, I am automatically a molester myself. And I just want to say it wasn't just this one cousin. It wasn't just, you know, one situation. It was several cousins. It was done to me by two older cousins, and then it, it went from me to two younger cousins, a girl and a guy, or a girl and a boy. Um, and a lot of people are going to judge me. A lot of people are probably going to say a lot of hateful things to me, but I am not going to hide. I'm not going to live my life feeling ashamed of something that A, I at a young age didn't know any better. And when I did know better, I did better. I'm not any of the things that they had made me out to be. I'm not I'm not I'm not sick in the head. I'm not I'm not a monster. And I'm here to say that I'm no longer going to keep these secrets that make me sick, that keep me down, that keep me wanting to get high, and keep me from being the best and most authentic version of myself that I can be. And I'm going to go ahead and stop for now. This story time will continue. There's so much more. Hopefully, it'll get better. Hopefully, it'll get less choppy. Hopefully, I won't jump around as much. I am going to plan out the next part of this story better so it comes across more clearly. This just was my beginning. I had to bite the bullet and I had to start, and I wasn't going to do it unless I just did it. If you've ever gone through anything like this, if you've dealt with physical abuse or sexual abuse from a family member or from someone you've trusted, or, if that progressed into you doing it with someone else or to someone else, and you need somebody to talk to, you can write me. I just ask that you like this video, leave a comment, please subscribe if you want to keep hearing about my story, and know that I love you and there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with me. I am beautiful, you are beautiful, and I'm here for you. And I hope to see you. I hope to see you all flourish, and I hope to with this I hope to with this journey just start a change in my life and other people's lives. So with that, I am going to say goodnight, and I hope to see you all soon. I love you.